2, 3. Hello and welcome to the Brainstorm podcast. And now, your host, Sonny Perlman.
In this next podcast, I got the honor of sitting with the one and only Meir K, who is the king of joy himself. And we got vulnerable, we got deep. I got to see all the parts of him, and it was such a wonderful conversation. I loved it so much. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Okay. Hello, Meir.
Hey, Sonny.
Oh, my God.
Great to have you.
Okay, truth be told, we're talking for, what, an hour now?
At least, yeah, a whole lot of good gems.
That's really a lot of gems, and I felt like we already did our podcast, and now we're starting.
Yeah. A little honest. We got into it now. We're here. We're going to just flow.
I'm going to say this in public because I told you before, but like we met a bunch of times, and at some point, like just a couple conversations, I felt like I was your best friend. I think that's invading you a little bit. It's not nice. We had some forever conversations.
Yes.
And I was like, I just want to have these conversations on a podcast, and this is why I'm so excited. This is why I came all the way here to you.
You did. Thank you for showing up in my living room here. It's very, very, very nice and it's comfortable. And I just want to echo the same thing. I find you as a fantastic leader and a very sensitive soul, which I gravitate towards. And I felt a very deep connection from the get-go. So, yeah, I'm grateful to be on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very exciting. Okay. It's terrible. We should have pressed record a long time ago, but okay.
Here we are.
Here we are.
It's in abundance.
I have this with a couple of people. I was just talking about your friend. We were talking that every time I talk to him, it's just it's a full podcast.
Yeah.
Every single time. I'm like, how come we just don't walk around with a record button?
But isn't that beautiful? I want to surround myself with people, whether the recording button is hit or not. That's the kind of conversations and world I want to live in, you know?
Yeah.
I can't do small talk anymore. I'm terrible. As a social person, honestly, I am not doing great these days, especially post-pandemic, in groups where it's just talking about Stam. I gotta get to the heart of things.
It's like everything has to mean something.
Yeah, it gotta mean something, and it doesn't be dark or heavy all the time, but how you doing? And answer that with honesty. I just want to be surrounded by honesty.
Could we answer that with honesty? How you doing?
Huh? Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Just straight up, terrible.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot better at that.
Are you?
Because I stopped. I'm working on my people pleasing stuff. So I'm able to and slash image stuff. So it's always a struggle, of course, but a challenge. But every time it's a new opportunity for me to be able to be present. And what I've realized in those moments is that it gives permission for the next person to say, what's up? Actually, I know I told you I'm okay, but actually I'm not. And then I'm able to be of service.
Or you could go back.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know, we're talking for 10 minutes, but I want to go back to the first question. I'm not doing well. It's such a great idea. Just when you think about it, you're like, wait a minute. You know that might be a good idea because some people are not safe to answer that question to. So maybe it's the beginning of a conversation is an interview to see if you could go back to that question.
Yo, right. Feel the person out a bit.
You're like, this guy really cares. All right, let me just tell you.
Yeah.
We're back.
And you're right. The moments where I've done that, where I've gone back and said, actually, I wasn't being totally honest. It's a tough day. And I'll go is only when the conversation moves a little forward, an energy, I sense something, he says something, and, Now, again, disclaimer is it's not appropriate to always open your guts to every stranger,
Right.
Some boundaries are important.
Boundaries, baby.
Boundaries. Oof.
You gotta do some boundaries. I've done too many boundaries in my life, and I'm trying to loosen them up. That's my goal, and that's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will ask you a question because actually, I was so excited that I was coming here and doing this, but weeks ago, and I started watching a lot of your videos. It was super fun.
Yeah.
I had a really, really good time.
Thanks.
Unfortunately, my YouTube algorithm never thought of me as someone who would thoroughly enjoy your videos because I never see your videos, but now they do because I've subscribed.
Now, thank you very much.
You got to subscribe.
Yeah. If you're listening right now, don't forget to subscribe to Meir K. Yeah.
Plug it in.
You
got to plug it in. All right. So I started watching the videos. First of all, they're very diverse. that has like a theme. Like, I'll just give you my little tiny analysis here. But there's like a theme that you want to bring joy to the world. Is that the theme?
Totally. It's shifted quite. It's shifting, but at the core of it is bringing joy to the world. I'm curious to know what else and then I could tell you where it's coming from.
Yeah. So the other thing I saw, and maybe it's the newer videos, I wasn't like following it chronologically, yeah. Right? So the other thing I saw, and then you just mentioned it before also in terms of like the no small talk, is that just joy doesn't seem to be enough. It has to be deep, meaningful joy. Like, there's a lot of meaningful wisdom type videos that you have. My wife listens to these guys. They always put out these videos. You're gonna know their names. Jay Shetty. You know Jay Shetty?
Yeah, we've done some videos together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, my wife is in love. She just loves those videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the same video every time. No.
Yeah.
And so was that Jay Shetty or the other guy? There's another guy. And so we learned from this. There's another guy. There's one other guy. I love it. But your videos,
Darman?
Yeah.
Darman.
Oh, jeez, I love it.
Yeah.
I come into my room at night and it's just Darman's playing. Like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But you have a little bit of that. And then there's also this joy stuff you're bringing. But the joy thing feels like, hey, we're having a great time. And then you see this whole nother layer where it's like it has to be deep and meaningful. There might be other stuff also, but that was the two things I saw.
Sure.
Because I've seen one and I've seen the other, but they're kind of mixed. Is this a good analysis?
Yeah, totally.
You'll take this?
Yeah, as I'm like fine wine, getting older and maturing and being more comfortable to embrace all the parts of myself,
right?
And to have the courage to share that with the world. That there's a massive side which a lot of, from like first phase of Meir was like full on high energy, which I love and I still embrace till today.
Right.
Joy, happiness, dance, bam, and again love that. And then and part of me is also a very, very deep place. That comes from a very, very deep place. When I did those earlier videos, I wasn't really in touch with that part of myself. As I get older, as I search, as I find more meaning and create more, just get to know myself more, I'm able to bring up from that well, extract from that well, and then tie that into my art.
Right.
Tie that into my messages.
But it's interesting because when I think about your videos, my favorite one is still the high-fiving.
High five in New York.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, it's the best. It's the freaking best. I pray to God every day to give me another idea like that.
Right.
That's a good one.
But there was something.
It's a good one.
Because you're finding a place where you could put that level of, I don't want to say simplicity. It's just a simple thing. Let's high five. You're waving a taxi down, and I high five. It just resets you. Like, oh, I'm in another world. I'm in this world with other people, and It's not just about getting from here to there. It's where we're gonna high five right now.
Right.
And it was like there was something so
simple, but so
simple
deep and meaningful towards it.
Right.
Yeah. It tied it all together in one bow.
Right. So that's like. That's like a great lemonade on a hot day, and now you're like defining it into like this wine, like you say, like it's a much more sophisticated level. Sometimes you hit this point where it's like it wakes up the baby inside you. Like,
And that's it. Like I want my videos to be able to like not just be entertained, but I want it to have some meaning. I want people also to be empowered to create spaces where people can step into and play in. I just don't want the person just to be an observer. I want them to be on the dance floor and dance with me.
Right.
And to remind them that they could dance in life all the time. Like the world's one big dance floor. Like it's that famous structure that had at Burning Man years ago with the two babies facing each other, but the grown-ups were facing the opposites of each other.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you ever seen that? Yeah.
That's an amazing one with the cages.
With the cage, exactly, inside. And that's essentially what it is. Like if we could just remind ourselves that we are ourselves. Let's say our birthday, right? I'm going to be turning 33.
It's my birthday next week.
There you go. Woo! Yeah, all right. Mazal tov, right? So you're not just going to be, what is it, 44?
Yes.
You're also 43, you're also 12, you're also 6. And sometimes that 6-year-old will pop up when you're angry or hungry, Sometimes the 14-year-old wants to be rebellious. Like, those are still all in us. So if we could just, remember that and play with that part of ourselves, and also then find the other people on the playground of life and play with their children. Like, yo, what's up? We're all gonna die. Let's live a little.
There's something very beautiful about this, because when I talk about addiction, and like I'm going into addiction because that's what I do. So when I talk about it, there's a lot of focus on killing the baby. I don't know how to say it another way. Like the baby inside us is this simple, wants to connect to something greater than itself. That's the baby. It's like, oh, the world is exciting. It's like, I want to get out there and do it. Spirituality. It's like this deep connection in a simple way. And the adult is like, do things right. So we're, like a lot of recovery stuff is, like if you do this right and do this right, in a sense, you kill the baby. Like, like when does the baby come out to play?
Yeah.
Throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
And we can't forget that.
Like, yeah, you can't.
You can't. And there's with the AA, I got like so excited that the fellowship piece exists, that like you need to be connecting to other people, because essentially addiction is a spiritual pursuit. I would like to connect to something greater than myself, outside of myself. And we do it unhealthily. We now use other things to make ourselves connected and feel better, but it's not used right. I don't have to go into all that, but I'm saying is a lot of the work that I see happening with therapists and with addiction is like how to get boundaries. How do we do life in a very structured way? And then every day, I was talking to you before about meditation, which I love to, but okay, now you meditate. Meditate helps you. So why don't you do it once a day?
Right.
And my baby's like, I don't want to do it once a day.
Yeah, goo gaga, I want to go climb a tree. Right, yeah.
So even something that like could spiritually connect you, like, well, I don't want that. I like my baby's like, but everything's like this. So you're bringing out in your video this thing like keep it alive. I mean, am I
totally keep it alive and nurture that and giving people the opportunity to be reminded of that through my different videos. And again, it's definitely shifting, and I feel like it's going to be different. There's different types of videos now, like the short stories, or different more philosophy is going to be coming out soon. And for me, I also love those like spontaneous social experiment types of videos, jumping on the bed, throwing DJ dance parties in the subway, water balloon fights. And I hope to be able to tap into that too. But I'm also like riding the wave. Like what comes to me now is
Can I ask you about the social experiment ones? I've never done anything like that. First of all,
yeah,
I don't know how I have the guts to do it, because I would be so embarrassed. I'd be so embarrassed to like.
We
get
talked about growing up in
involved.
Chabad or in a cult. Like I grew up in a world where like the whole world was created for me. You know,
I got this.
I got this. You know,
You're on shlichus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out there. The whole world. It's my community. It's my playground. I'm not afraid. Yeah, that stuff doesn't scare me.
That's incredible. But when you're meeting these people, are there like deep connections that you make, like in those seconds or those minutes that you're with them? Like, I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, it depends.
What's behind the scenes,
Yeah, sometimes there are these moments. I mean, the laugh and the smile when you just connect with some dude in a suit who's like trying to get the bus, but then you drop a bucket of water balloons in front of him, and he like smiles and picks up one and throws it at you. It's like, yo, it's the crazy. I mean, that smile is like, yes, this is what it's about, man. And then sometimes afterwards, someone will like, I'll engage with somebody, and they'll wait till like I'm done filming, and then they'll come over to me, or that shot, and they're like, yo, what's going on? That was amazing. They'll like sort of like bring with me or digest what just happened. Like, whoa, that was so cool. I'm like, yeah, man, it's great. And sometimes people do tend to just like open up and get honest and vulnerable, or share how much they needed that thing to happen because they're having a tough day, or their mother just died, or whatever that is.
Get stories like that?
Yeah, all the time. It happens. I get in person and messages online, or like, hey, I was a person that was, this happened. You have no idea that, last week this happened to me. Like, I have no idea. And that's the beautiful thing, right? We never know what other people are going through, and how we can show up could really be a powerful
I think
thing.
my approach is that every person I meet is going through something.
Yeah, 100%.
But the other observation I have on your videos is that it wouldn't work in the country. the dichotomy of like it's in the middle of the city and everybody's wearing suits and there's a hustle bustle rat race and then you am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're totally right. It being the city, I mean, the city it gives it that contrast. You know, any big city, especially New York City, is where like it's there to where I want to shake things up. Right. If I was in like Omaha, you know, or a small little town, there's not much action. It's a different type. It'll be a different type of video, and then maybe it'll be.
No, but you also wouldn't have that contrast.
No, you wouldn't.
Like,
No, you wouldn't have it. You wouldn't have it at all. No, you need that hustle, that bustle, that energy, and I think that is just a reflection, a very concentrated reflection of our own lives. Like no matter if we're in a city or not, we are busy within constantly, and and wherever we are, we bring that with us. Right. So we could just remind ourselves to play with ourselves a bit. Doesn't sound too sexual, does it?
No, it's not great. But
okay.
So we had I had this thing that I was because sometimes I see in this like I was sitting in shul the other day, which was fun, and
for some,
and it was a really packed house, like jam packed, and I just realized that I saw it as a jam-packed house, and it's just me thinking about the surroundings. And then I looked around, and I'm like, every one of these people are looking at this room completely differently because they're the center of it. So it's like, you know, England used to be the center of the world. Like, we're all the center of our worlds. And it was like hundreds of people, and we're all just stuffed in this room.
Right.
And every single person does not see it the way I do. When I'm bringing it back to your video again for a second, is that every one of these people is a different world. It's such a wacky thought. I don't know where I'm going with it, but it's like there's a guy and he looks like a plain old businessman, nothing interesting, and then you did something in his life, and it's like a new person there, and he's seen it from his way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, I'm some like crazy guy running over, like from his POV, you know, like me running over to him, dropping it. Yeah, and that's an interesting thought, like the whole like spotlight effect. Like we think the whole world is revolving around us and the different perspectives you could go ahead and see life. But here we are talking about like, you know, filling up other people's vessels. What about you though? Like I know you're saying you're right now. You've been doing that for 25 years.
Yeah.
And now you're on a journey to discover how to fill up your own because you're getting depleted.
Yeah. No, we were talking about that before. It's interesting because I see the world the same way from that vantage point, and I spent so much time thinking my mission is to just help everybody else.
What you've been doing?
And I have been, and thank God I love it. I shouldn't say I love it. I love that I have done it. You know the difference? Yeah. Yes. I love that I do it, and I love that I've done it. But there is such a piece missing in me when I forget that I exist and I'm not there. You know, like it's just about everybody else. This morning I was so riled up when I walked in here, and I looked like manicky, you know, because I was.
Honestly, I didn't think so, but I think you were telling yourself that over and over again, so I think you were believing it. From the outside looking in, it was chill.
Really?
Yeah.
That's because you're so much more charged up than I am. That it seems. You seem like a pretty chill guy. To me, I'm like, I was completely charged up. I had to stop myself. But the reason is because I was spending all morning trying to catch up, and then I'm going on vacation, and I got to get everything done, and then it was everything about everybody else.
Sonny, that's where it goes back to, like, and even now, like, I've done that for a little bit, maybe in a short amount of time, but I totally relate to what you're saying, losing myself in the projects to other people, where it came to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore, so I had to stop. And then I realized now for me to be able to go back into doing what I love, which is the creation and the public speaking and the inspiration and being of service to people in different ways, I need to keep filling up my glass constantly, daily, and not allow too much time to pass without me having boundaries for my own well-being.
So how are you going to do that?
How do I do that?
How
do I do that? I do it. And, you know, I wouldn't be able to have this podcast, honestly, if you asked me a year and a half ago. But now I have space for it. I have breath, and you know, it's all It was all it's all structured. Even this, like, you know, you asked me schedule. Okay, back in the day, I was flagging. Yeah, let's go. But like, I'm working towards a person, a version of myself, which I know was inside me for a long time, but I couldn't access to. That is a lot more structured. And as crazy and wild and spontaneous I like to be, there's also a big part of me that needs structure. And I didn't allow that to thrive. And now I'm just bringing that together now. Like, this spontaneous me, this is all right, but like, there has to be a routine going on in some way, in one way or another.
Yeah, but it's interesting because you have a double challenge.
You're going to tell me? You're going to tell me?
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have much more challenges. But we were talking about this before, which is the challenge of that the entire world was celebrating your lack of structure. You could have easily gone into like, oh, yeah, that's who I am. And da-da-da. And everybody's got to deal with it. But you did. I'm saying the one challenge is that you got to help yourself have structure and all that. The rest of the challenge is the whole world is so excited. I see this with like stand-up comedians. Like, some of them are doing it because they're having a hard time inside, and they need to make people laugh so they can feel better. And then the whole world loves them. They're paying millions of dollars to use their defense mechanism to help themselves. Right. You know what I'm saying? And we see with actors and people like you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I think there was maybe somewhat of an unhealthy relationship earlier on. There was, you know, I didn't know any better, and I was just rolling with it. But then as I had the opportunity to be able to like look deeper, and either I could have just ignored it and keep going, but then it wouldn't have worked. I would have just burnt myself out, which I've done constantly, and then stop, then go and stop. And I was over that.
Right.
So the pain of staying how things were was just too much to like, it just for the pain, you know, the pain of like not knowing what will happen if I went through this door compared to the pain of me just staying the way things were. It was like, I was ready to take the plunge because I didn't want to stay in the cycle of just stopping and going, burnt out, relax, go back into it. Like, I didn't want that anymore. I knew also, as scary as it may be, I'll be able to hit my full potential. Because even whatever people saw, maybe from the outside looking in, it's like, oh my God, amazing, he's hitting it. It's like, no, man, the best years are ahead of me. I have so much more to give. But I wouldn't have been able to access it if I wasn't ready to let go of the version in which people projected onto me or what I thought people wanted of me.
Right.
So I had to let that go to be able to level up.
So do you think doing what you've done has accelerated the process of like having to deal with yourself? Like, if you don't deal, you're gonna die, kind of thing. Like, is it like a lot of people? You're not such an old guy. A lot of people, you know, spend many, many more years before they realize that they gotta like take care of.
And sometimes people have more tolerance to do that too. Like, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I just know personally I'm a sensitive soul. And like, it just caught up to me much faster than some others. So #grateful because like I didn't have to wait till I was 50 or 60 to like realize this. And like, I could work on that now. And it's still scary. And it's still, I still don't know. There's still a lot of uncertainty, but I know I know I'm expanding, and I know I'm growing. And I know, like I said, there's so much more beauty and gifts and excitement and creativity, and we're not ahead of me, where I just gotta sort of let go more and trust the process and to be more in touch with myself and to honor myself more.
Right.
And it's not selfish, right? If I'm still do my volunteer stuff, I do show up for, I do what I can best, but I also create space and time so Meir can replenish, and then we all benefit.
Right.
You know.
Wow. I have a little bit of what you have, you know, tiny bit. I'm saying you're like a famous guy.
No, what are you talking about? I always say that, and I'm not gonna like cool, but like also I heard this great line where Moses said, I'm paraphrasing here: ambitious men went after happiness but found fame.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah.
So I tell you the truth, I'd be terrified to have what you have. I'm not saying you thought it was a good thing.
No, not at all. But I just want to give honor to what you're doing. You're quite famous in the community that you are in, right? And the people, you're thousands of people that you've helped. So like you're a big deal
right,
too.
right.
Yeah,
but why? But no, but I don't play it down. Thank God, I get to do some really wonderful things. But I want to hide all the time. Like I think of like I want to hide. When I was younger, I was like so excited about the idea of like going out and changing the world and like being famous for it, and they're gonna like I had this guilty pleasure. I thought they were gonna write. I'm gonna eventually be written in a history book somewhere. Like in 1,000 years, they're gonna be like, this guy revolutionized something. And I was like, it was always a dream of mine because I love history so much. And I was like, I'm gonna be in a history book. And then at some point, I felt like I became the student. You know, like I'm the teacher. And then at some point, I'm like, there's so much I don't know. So much. And there's so much I don't know about myself. Like I knew about everybody else. And then there's so much I don't know about myself. And this level of vulnerability that's come on, it's like I go in to help people, but I go in, how's the word? I go in like afraid. Yeah. Subservient, baby. But with a lot of humility, a heck of a lot more than I used to have. Right. And so I think of like your experience where I'm not gonna try to say the word fame. You don't love it so much, but you exploded. You're 6 years in. You're saying 7 years in. I mean, how long ago was that first video?
7 years in.
Like 6, 7 years in, exploded. The world knows you. People coming over to you, asking you advice, thoughts, ideas, and it's almost like that's happened to me, but it took 25 years. You know, so maybe I was able to ease in, but I'm like completely fascinated by how you're able to manage yourself through that experience. And so that's what you're talking about. I don't know. You have to
answer. No. I mismanaged it for some time, and I'm now learning to manage it. And I know it's only going to continue to grow. Like it's, God willing, I'll be able to have a bigger impact, and with that will come new challenges. And as I say, new levels, new devils. So everything is going to, I know it's going to so I'm trying to do the groundwork now.
Right.
I'm trying to do the groundwork now to be able to like know who I am, know what my limitations are, know where my strengths are, work on the things I can, just have good friends, family support system, just having all that structure in place so I could build, build on instead of just like moving with it and going with the wind. And it sounds more exciting. And the part of me is like, yeah, let's go travel the world and like not have a plan, which I did for a bit of my 20s.
Right.
Now, and like I'm getting okay with that. Like, no, actually like having a routine, waking up, meditating, journaling, doing the thing, go for the run, eat healthy. Like I appreciate that more now. And again, it gives me the structure so I can now go ahead and pour into other people's glasses and help and be creative. I can't be creative in chaos. I'm too chaotic, You
can't be creative in chaos?
No. And when I'm on a set and things are getting
sometimes
crazy,
I feel like creativity is chaos. So explain that to me, because
I guess what I'm thinking is like on a personal like level in my inner world, if I'm chaotic, if I'm like being, all my thoughts are around the relationship, or like, or if I'm holding a resentment, or if I'm like, my emotions are all over the place. I didn't sleep much. I didn't take care of myself. Then I can't be creative. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm thinking about what people are thinking of me. I'm thinking about what I just said or what's not going right in my life. Like I can't be creative. When I clear that wreckage, when I clear that space, then I'm able to, there's all this space now to be creative. My mind naturally goes there. But yet, I mean, yes, on set, if I'm filming and stuff go wrong, which usually do, that's production.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's chaos, and I'm able to work in that very well, thank God. But there's, again, within that, there's a structure, we're here now. I'm just talking about more in my own personal life.
Right.
When if it's not in line, it's
such a balance.
It's
I'm saying because creativity does have a lot of chaos in it. And you're saying you have to empty yourself, meaning have structure and live a life to be able to contain that chaos.
Yes, and also to not just my creativity and just not my professional life. I need to have all of that structure so I can show up beautifully and powerfully with my personal life too, with my family, with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends. People are going through stuff too. Right? They're all going through. Like if I want to show up as the most powerful person I can in those relationships and be of service there too, and sometimes that means saying no for a Shabbos. Sometimes it means saying no to a thing, because I just know like I'm not going to be helpful there. I just need some space. I need some time. Right. I need to go into nature. I got to just spend time with maybe some other people. And like it's all good. And I come back the next weekend, and show up that way.
I love that you said the no thing, because no is sometimes the hardest word, right?
Yeah.
Was it somebody once said true freedom is refusing an invitation to dinner without an excuse. I've tried it. It's so fun.
So, wow. Yeah, but you always want to make excuses.
You got to make an excuse. They say, you want to go for dinner? No.
And just sit in that. Hold it.
It's so painful, and you hold it. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I tried it a bunch of times, and it felt like a terrifying freedom. I don't know. It was like
because everything inside you is screaming like, "Oh, I want to make them feel good, and I want them to think this, or they maybe not invite me again." And
there's so much.
All that.
We're thinking so much.
There's all that thoughts, and like I'm thinking for them. Like, let me just take care of you.
Just say it.
You take care
they
of
do
you.
Get shocked. Yeah. They're like, and like, what do you say now?
Right. And you're just like, no. Like, if you could really stay in that, that's beautiful, and that's been a struggle for me too to get better at that. And I used to spread myself thin with work stuff, always saying yes, and and getting clear on what my mission is, clear on what excites me, what I want to do, and thank God, and trusting also, right? Scarcity is like, but like thank God, I'm also saying no, like with monetary, like what's going to happen with my next gig? Maybe I need to do it now, but I trust now, and I've seen it clearly time and time again. I say no to this, and God feeds me the one that I want to get, and it's I've heard it time and time again with other people who want to level up in different professions. They had to really let go of how they were doing things at one place, so to create space for the new evolution of their career.
Right. So let me ask you another question. What is, like at this point, I'm assuming it's changed, like what is it that you want to do, like in the world? Like what is it, what's your mission? What's your mission in all this? Meir K, what is your mission?
It's a great question. And stay positive, be happy. It's still around. It's still very much deeply rooted in spreading joy and like meaning. I would say there's also a meaning part. There's a healing part too. I don't believe. I just know this because I'm going through so much healing in my own life that I just know that it's just a way for me to know and to experience, so I could just then really relate to those who are going through something similar. Right. And I only go through this, I know, from a soul level, so I could share that and help other people. There's that's the meaning I give to it, and that's what I also heard from many smarter people than myself. Right. So there's a healing part of my life that I'm looking to tap into now and to explore. As a different facilitator, perhaps. I don't know. I'm still exploring that, but I'm opening myself up. I'm letting go of the idea that I'm just one-dimensional. I'm just the comedic filmmaker. That still excites me, and I'm still going to pursue that. So I don't have just one answer, and I think it still makes me a little anxiety inside because I still want to have like that clear. I'm a motivational speaker, and I get booked 50 times a year. I make this amount, and it sounds safe. Right. I'm not there yet. I know I motivational speak a couple times a year. I do my films. I'm going to look into this facilitation stuff, and I'm going to trust it with less anxiety.
So it's like a multifaceted mission that is still growing.
It's still growing. Yeah, the best is yet to come. I'm young. I'm so young. I have so much more to give. And I'm fully haven't reached my potential yet. I pray to God every day to help me reach my potential and to guide me to meet the right people. I'm trying to be the student because they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I'm hoping that that's what I pray for. And then I just have to let it go. And I'm pulled to this. Cool. I'll go. I'm trying to trust my intuition more. And this is the inner work I'm doing. I'm not trying. I'm doing it. And I'm seeing it ever so slowly. It's helping and shifting. And I'm getting a little more clearer. Someone read my chart. I don't know if you're into astrology. And someone said the way my chart's written as a Capricorn, and I'm a Capricorn. Some people may be shocked.
That I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm
fascinating
a student.
Stuff. I'm curious.
Oh, I couldn't really give you a crash course in astrology right now, but I'm fascinated by it, and I believe in it. It's in the sense that, and the little that I do know, and people may be like screwing me right now because astrology is not kosher, it is kosher, and there's different aspects to it. Apparently, I just heard from Rabbi Chaim Miller, is that, the predictive one, the one that sort of tells you about your future, what will happen, that's, we stay away from. But there's also a part of astrology that sort of tells you just when you were born, there's a certain energy. It tells you who you are now. It's just your character, what you're more prone to, and just more insight to self. That's the kosher one. So it's just another modality and tool.
Do you go further, like the moon sign?
Oh, it gets deep. Sun, moon, all of it.
My daughter's telling me all about
this. It's fascinating. So, and it all makes sense. And sometimes you may realize, wait, why I feel so confused about the X, Y, and Z. It's all there written out. It's right there. And just gives a certain like peace of mind, I would say, and like a heads up, and also for your own self to like know like, oh, I do well in these scenarios, or watch out for that. Okay, cool. Just more knowledge, more awareness. That's awesome.
So I pick on one question in all that. That was a lot. That was a lot. No, because I like sat here. I'm like, I forgot my question. I have such a good question. It's not a question necessarily. You mentioned the teacher thing.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you that this has been one of the biggest struggles of my life, is that for some reason I could get little snippets from here and there, and I am allergic to having a teacher, even though I want to be a student. Like, a second I start thinking, maybe I put them too high on a pedestal, and like I don't know where to go with it. And I've had two teachers in my life that I like look to as my teachers. They both passed away conveniently. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing to do with me. But and I love them very dearly. But they both passed away, and I have found myself not finding another teacher. I'm asking you because I don't know if this is a thing for us in the helping world, because I see a lot of people in the giving world that they don't get their teacher. They may quote people, and it looks like they have a teacher, but do you have a teacher in your life? Is that like is this something that you relate to? What I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. No, having a mentor is a big one, and I it's something that I cherish. I did not have one growing up, really.
Right.
And even though like it's growing up Chabad, the Rebbe, yeah, it talks about. I think the Rebbe talks about it. Maybe somebody's like screaming, "No, it's not the Rebbe!" Like listening in right now. But
it's about not the Rebbe.
I don't know. I'm gonna say this.
Are we not touching this?
Yeah, we're gonna edit this one out.
But I'm not enough in to know what we're allowed to touch and what.
No, where I was gonna go was quote the Rebbe, which I don't know if it's actually a quote, but is to acquire a mentor, right? It's to have a mentor. So I never really understood that until also ego growing up. I want to figure it out myself. I didn't really. And the long-winded answer is that yes, I do have mentors, and it's something that I cherish, and I try to seek them out. Right now, I'm not in the process of that, but I am very grateful that I have people who I find who I look up to and who are wiser than me, and I can lean on and have questions, and I could speak to totally. And it's so important, and it's great. Yeah, it's not even a mechanism for me to stay humble. I mean, like, it's just like I know I don't know stuff, and like I'm 32 on this world, and like there's so many people with so much more experience than me, just by sheer years. And sometimes they're even younger. I don't mind I don't mind asking someone who's younger than me, like, yo, what's up? I used to. Thank God I'm working through that. I've worked through that, and like it's like it's on a soul. Like, it may sound hippy dippy,
yeah,
but like on a soul level. And again, like trusting. Again, I trust God. I trust divine providence. So, like, if that person, that teacher, that energy, that soul is coming through my way, and if I'm really open to it, it's like, wow, I actually was thinking about that. I needed that answer. I was looking for some guidance, and so it could come in the form of a 24-year-old, or it could be someone who's like 55 or older with a long white beard. Like, I don't know how the message is gonna come. Like, why should I limit it to a certain look? And if I could just step out of the way, universe is working for me.
Yeah, I learned so much from other people, but I think that's the question of the relationship with a mentor. That's
but I have So this is
so that's really wonderful.
I have an ongoing relationship with a mentor.
Right.
Yeah, on like on a weekly, bi-weekly basis.
I think because I'm talking about this topic, I'm gonna bring back the Rebbe for a second, just for fun. Why not? No, because I have this almost an allergy to anybody who's a leader. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
And even to myself, I'll tell you, in my experience, whenever anybody starts thinking I'm their leader, I somehow stop taking their phone calls. I don't mean to say it. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I slip away. I'm like, I can't be your leader. I don't believe in a leader. And then that's on an emotional level. Like, I think it's an emotional level. When it comes to like a cerebral level, I'm like, it makes tremendous amount of sense to have a leader who could, rally up the forces. And I mean, what country, what family, what nation hasn't had a leader? You know, a good leader is good and a bad leader is bad, but like it seems like it's necessary. And for some reason, I'm allergic to it, and so I yearn for that connection, but then I run from it. I don't know where I'm.
Why do you feel like you run from it? Why do you think
Become my therapy session?
No, I'm like, why do you think you run from it? And like, also, there's a pattern here, right? With you like not wanting to get a mentor, leader. Like, what do you think it is that's blocking you from like saying, "Hey, I see you're human. You may not be perfect, but yet there's something here that I can learn from you, and I trust you."
I don't know. It's not that they're not learning from them. I can learn from all of them. It's that connection, that personal connection with a leader. Like I almost feel like the only person I could talk to about all my stuff is my wife, and I could talk to her about everything.
So you have an intimacy disorder.
Intimacy disorder. Jeez, you just gave me a disorder.
Oh shit!
We didn't even have a session yet. I got it. Why can't it just be issues with intimacy?
Sorry, man.
It's like, dude, you are disordered.
Whatever. That's a tough word when you say it multiple times in a row. You're right. It's a hard one. Rattle that off just like that. I'm
with
doctor.
you. I'm with you.
No, I'm just asking. Like right. You're saying like. And you know what? Let me give some context to that because, like, and let me speak from myself. And I'm just here. I'm trying to help you. Let me save you.
Save me,
give
baby.
The answer, man.
Meir, save me, baby.
No. But like, I guess where I was coming from, just to give some context, was like I've had that issue of like not having like as vulnerable as I thought I was. Like I kept people at a distance,
right?
And a hard time connecting with other people on an intimate level. Even friends, like good friends, men especially, having like intimate relationship with men on an emotional level, trust, all that stuff. So when you just tell me like, and I've been working on that and it's been very, very healing and it's been beautiful. Like my life has been able to really grow in that way, in my circles. So when I hear you just saying like, I'm only able to like, you know, intimate with my wife, and that's where I'm coming from. Like, that may be a big blockage as to like why that is, and then to really start.
Yeah, no, it for sure is. You're definitely nailing something. I don't know if it's a disorder yet, but it's definitely you're onto something. You're onto something. But we have started. I mentioned it once before on the podcast, but we started a group of guys. This is very odd for me. A men's group,
nice.
Just a bunch of guys. We don't have any of the same issues or anything like that. It's just a couple of friends. And we started something called Mavaksham Anonymous, where we just sit down and we grow. Like we just sit, talk our stuff out, and it's not based on any model or anything like that. We just sit down and, man, it's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful. I suggest it for everybody. But for me, it's so odd. It's so odd to sit down, like you say, with this intimacy stuff. Sit down and like bare my soul and
especially to men. I mean, I think when sharing it with a woman, there's that deep innate like nurturer, mother, feminine energy. But with men to men, and it runs very deep. Right? And many people talk about this now already with the whole masculine toxicity, where we're like, got to hide our feelings, we can't cry, we can't have emotion, how men are supposed to. Right. And that is really being destroyed these days, and because of conversations like this and like of men really stepping up and getting vulnerable with one another, and it's so healthy because like it's so healing.
But I don't think it's just men. I know I'm saying is that
women
I
too.
think our community, and tell me what you think about this. This is a thought I'm having right now. I think the idea that we don't need each other anymore takes away the ability to say, "I need you." Like when I think about I think of like third world countries, and I don't think they have a problem telling each other they're struggling because they all need each other for everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like we live in this world like we all have our own house, we have our own place, we could hide, and we all have our own car and all things. We're not depending on people in any other way, and then we're saying we should depend on people for our emotions. It's kind of like weird for us. I think women are doing it less than we think they're doing it. I mean, like they may have their friend they're doing it, but they're not walking in. For example, I work with all these parents. These parents are not walking around saying, "Oh, my kid's a drug addict." Why not? That's your kid's struggle right now. So why don't you just tell your neighbor, and your neighbor should be. I have an example. I went to this conference, and it was for parents, and this parent came. and I thought they were so embarrassed to go home when their kids are addicts and they're struggling, and they showed up, and 4 other people on their block are there. And none of them knew that the other one is struggling.
Shidduchim.
And I'm like, they all live on the same block. Yeah. How sad is that? Like, so those were women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think our whole culture is like not
it's
sharing.
Keeping up like a certain look, and we're afraid. I think that's a big part of it, right? What would happen to a kid, and who knows? Family, people talking, gossip, but like, if we, I think you're hitting.
Is it still shidduchim? And are people still saying that?
Yeah, there are.
I'm really out of this world. There
is. There's a lot of shame there. There's a lot of stigma, right?
Right.
And parents are afraid. Like, if one kid's this way, then what about my other kids? And what are they gonna say about me? Like, I mean, there's all this stuff. It's all BS. It's all gossip. It's all shame. It's all projecting. And like you said, you don't even know the other person that you're talking to has the same struggle, and you can really build and help each other. It comes back down to just be honest into vulnerability. Like, honestly, like realizing that, we are in this together, and we're all struggling, we're all human, and like we can just get honest. Like, I don't have all the answers. I don't know. This is what I'm going through, and it gives that person, especially family members or people who you consider close, a neighbor you've been with so long, you have a relationship with, like, let them in.
So if you tell somebody, we're gonna go away from my disorders for a second. If you tell somebody. Like right now, we're sitting on the podcast, you're sharing about struggles that, and how you deal with struggles. And then that person watches this video, right? A video of your like joy and happiness.
Yeah.
And do people come over to you and go like, I thought you're the joy guy.
That was the biggest fear I had. That was the biggest fear I had back when I was transitioning, or when I came out from doing a bunch of those videos, and then I came out a couple years ago with a mic drop, talking about my struggle and my journey with depression, and going through that. So before that happened, that was the biggest question I asked myself, and even the people at mic drop, I'm like, yo, is this going to be career suicide? Because I'm going to come out, talk about depression, and like I'm the happy guy and jumping around. But it's also at the point where like, it was a message I wanted to share with people, because there was also an unfair bias and like image and pedestal which I was placed on about being happy, and the message I was getting, people were asking, how do we always be happy like you? And I was like, this is a little authentic, because I'm also human. I also have other emotions. So I want the people to know that it's okay to be happy and also sad and everything in between. So it was important for me to come out with that message about my journey.
By the way, I completely forgot to mention that before, but that was amazing. I saw it years ago. That's why I forgot about it.
Thanks. Yeah. So when
that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So it was at that time where I had that fear. It was fear, because what really happened was, instead of fear wanted me to stay closed and not share that and just keep on that trajectory, would have destroyed me. Instead of what had really happened afterwards was like, Meir, I love those videos, and I also love that you talked about that, and that's also something I struggle with, and then can I talk to you about that? Or like, I love that you were able to find the courage to talk about that part of yourself too. So it really didn't take away from that at all, or made it any disingenuous, because that is a part of me. It is something that I love, and I've created those stuff. It comes from me. And there's also this other part, which, and other parts of me too. So it's just,
I feel like that's such a better message. I was telling you this before. I don't know if I said it as we're talking, but I ask people what their goal is, addicts and whatever. What's their goal in life? And they say, oh, I just want to be happy.
Right.
Which, by the way, it says it in the Declaration of Independence. I don't know, pursuit of we're free to pursue happiness, and I think, what a stupid goal. Like, I'm like, happiness is an emotion that you feel. It's one of your emotions. If you feel happy all the time, we put you in the psych ward because you're feeling mania. You're now manic, right? And when people like, oh, I want to be happy all the time. So you're giving it that message of like, happiness is part of this, a really big part of this, and sadness is part of this too, and deep, meaningful connections are part of this.
Yeah, I came to and the message of the mic drop was like, you're not alone. Like, I really want the people to realize that you're just not alone. I think I'm sort of discovering, like, I'm hoping, because this is where I felt a lot of loneliness in my own life. So I really want people to feel like they're not alone, and that we're just really all connected. We're really just all really connected, and we're all going through our own stuff, and we don't have to isolate and have shame that has to come between us. Like it's okay. Like it's literally it's okay. Whatever you think, it's okay, and to accept that, and then to bond with one another. Like we have so little time on this earth, and it's like, man, like it's just to have a moment of some peace of mind. I think that's a good goal. I heard Will Smith say that a lot. Like, I want peace of mind. Who is it? Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I want peace of mind. That's what I want. Happiness, like you said, like, it's fleeting. It's peace of mind. It's some serenity, some peace. So.
You said Will Smith without making a joke? That's pretty good.
I'm hoping this comes out in some time where, like, mentioning him is, like, he's not canceled. Yeah.
I was like, you just snuck into Will Smith, and I'm like, yeah, well, he just smacked that lesson into your head. No, just kidding. I'm sorry.
And it's back.
It's back. Huh. That was an itch I had to scratch there. Like, we're just going to keep going?
Am I going to get canceled by saying, yeah.
Okay, I'm just kidding. He says some good wisdoms.
He has a lot of wisdom out there.
He's awesome.
You did mention the Rebbe and leader. I want to bring that back. You didn't give a reason why or just because he's a leader, so you just Bechlal or something specific about the Rebbe?
No, it's
Chabad is coming up.
The Rebbe.
Or just because you just...
No,
because
a Rebbe. I'll tell you why. And there's definitely intimacy stuff there, but... there is this thing that we believe that somebody out there, and I feel like it's damaging, somebody out there has got it all. He's happy. He's got a perfect family. His kids are perfect. His I don't know. Just go through the whole list of all the things that are perfect, that we're all trying to hit, and that it exists, right? When you say all that, right? And you believe that about someone, then I feel like all you could do is feel like I feel like that belief is damaging because nobody has it all. Now, I'm not messing with a particular Rebbe. That's not my business. Right. But I don't believe. And when I read Tanakh, which I'm a big fan of, like probably more than anything else to learn, I love reading Tanakh. And there is not a leader that we have. And we're talking about people like David HaMelech, and we're talking about like big people, like really Shaul, I'm the biggest fan of Shaul. It's like every person you pick, all they tell us about is struggles. Like the lesson is the opposite. This is a guy who struggles, and he's still amazing. Every one of the avos had bad kids. And they are our avos. That's who we want to be. Yeah. So when I don't tell you that I have a bad kid, I don't say bad kid, it's a pretty terrible thing to say. But if I tell you that my kid is struggling, so you put somebody on a pedestal on that level, it almost contributes to this fact that I don't want to tell you that there's a problem with me because I believe that somebody got it. I don't think anybody ever, in the history of ever, got it. Totally. I think people have excelled in many areas. They're giants. But I tell you the truth, I'm not even impressed with somebody who all his kids are perfect and he's perfect. Like, where's the struggle in that? I can't even relate to that. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I think the biggest thing I got is that, and I see this in my field, and there's the point out, this social, this psychologist, he's the best, and he knows this, and his kids, and his this, and he gives lectures, and the lectures are so impressive, and this is how you find happiness. Lecture. And you're like, dude, I know this guy. I'm like helping his kid get off of drugs right now. Like, hey, you know why he's great? I don't think he's not great. I don't think the Lubavitch Rebbe is not one of the greatest people that has ever lived in our lives and ever, right? But if you tell me the Lubavitch Rebbe didn't have all the struggles or similar struggles to me, I don't think that's helpful to me.
I don't think anybody told you. I don't think anybody.
No.
Just offense that. I don't think anybody has ever said that the Rebbe had it all figured out. Very human.
Not the Rebbe. The Rebbe didn't say it. The problem is everybody else is saying it.
Whoever's saying that, no. I think most people who are sane of mind come like.
I have seen people idealize people to a level that I don't know what to
ridiculous.
do.
That's ridiculous. And
I know it's ridiculous.
And unfortunately for them, because who knows what they need to survive. Then this is okay and they could hold on to that as an anchor. I don't know. But the fact is, and I'm no spokesman for Chabad, but I am Chabad, and
he's now you
Rebbe,
are.
And he's my Rebbe, so
don't
I can speak
you
about
mess.
It. Yeah, 100%.
You know I made that joke? I'm saying this Chabad. I had a friend of mine. He's like, And he was really not religious anymore, like hated God and everything. But you don't mess with the Rebbe.
Yeah,
he's
right.
like,
Facts. By the way, I don't keep Shabbos a kosher, but
Yeah,
you mentioned the Rebbe, man.
Don't you
fists
dare
are
mess
flying. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's 100%. But that being said, so you watch out. No,
I don't mess with the Rebbe.
Love the Rebbe. I have a sticker of him on my phone.
I have a problem with a Rebbe. That's the problem,
Right,
and,
but
and it's a complicated problem.
And again, you're also like you're if that's the reason, then you're just allowing what some people who follow him, who make him perfect, just that's avoid. It's stopping you from able to connect with that person though, with the leader.
I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
See a problem?
It's a problem.
I don't care that I have a problem. And I think
Great.
your kids should marry my kids anyway.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Oh man,
I got a
I'm
problem.
though.
No, because I was saying there's a part of me that is dying to have a Rebbe, and a part of me wants to reject it like crazy. That's what I'm saying. That's the
Plurality.
Yeah. So you brought up teachers, so I wanted to jump on that because
Yeah.
I don't usually talk about that, but it's like this podcast is making me way too vulnerable.
No, man, I love it. I love where this is going, and thank you for showing up so vulnerably.
It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about the Rebbe, and now my time just to maybe close it up is to read about how human he was, and that just makes me more relatable to him and more inspired by him. Like I want to be a leader like him. It's possible. I mean, I'm not saying I could be a Rebbe, but I'm saying like those attributes, the kindness, the fortitude, the vision, just
It's
all
incredible.
of it. It's just incredible. So like, but like if he was as a kid, like as an angel, there's no connection, there's no relatability. I go to the oil, I write upon my miracle, a miracle happened. Now there's like, I go and there's like there's meditation, there's like understanding, there's an energy that I could like connect to. A person, a soul that was here, that was very, very refined and a genius of a man in words I can't even explain, and yet in a physical body who had emotions, who learned how to, work through his emotions in big ways, was able to hold so much pain and suffering and show up every day and so much responsibility. Like that inspires me. Like, wow, I want to show up in my own way and emulate that. So for me, that excites me to know more about the Rebbe and his humanness.
Right. Because if he's, and I would connect it to because while you were saying like you have the right to express your emotions and your feelings, and still it's fine. I actually, while you're saying that, I'm like thinking, I wish I had the right to express my joy the way you express your joy. You know what I mean? Like there's another part. Like sometimes I think, oh wow, life is really rough, and I just like I'm not allowed to just be like, okay, that life is rough here, and I'm exploding out with joy. Like there's also a part of me that's like, I describe myself as the cynical optimist. But there's a part of me that just wants to do what you're doing on the street, like boom, hello everybody, we're having a good time, and it's like that piece gets so taken away, and I want to express that piece. I don't know. I that's what it's like. It's interesting when I'm talking to you. It's like it's such a nice, like a refreshing feeling to be like you're like the full package. I'm not. No.
Yo,
I'm not giving you a compliment.
Yeah,
dude.
don't put it.
No. Listen, first of all, you're my Rebbe, so everything about you is perfect. But what I'm saying is, in the same conversation. So I have a lot of conversations that are like, let's talk about vulnerability. Let's talk about this. But we're talking about vulnerability, and then we're also talking about just exploding with joy. Like those are like sometimes it's all right to be sad. It's all right to be happy. You almost like never get both of those in the same person. Now you have a lot to do and a lot of work to do when you're young, and I'll give you all that. But it is really awesome that there's both there. That there's everything there, like that. You think it's all right to have everything. Yeah,
man. A lot of hours of therapy, that's for sure, and a lot of work. Dude. I mean, you sort of laugh it off, but like it's true. I didn't always think this way. I didn't know, and you're catching me in a really great time. Thank God in my life where I feel okay, even though not every day is okay or it feels okay. I know I'm okay. I'm drilling it in my head. So. And also, like, where I'm shifting through ideas, we're like, I'm super, super sad. So this is all, like, it's important to hold space for those emotions when you're going through it. I'm also realizing that like, yeah, I'm embracing all the parts of me, and that's because I feel a certain way doesn't mean I don't have to act a certain way. You know, I can still not perhaps be in the mood for a video, but if I committed to it or things were set up, I could show up that way. And I found many a time when I do it, I turn out to be okay. I turn out to be feeling that emotion. You know, like there was a clear video one time where I was not feeling it. I was just, you know, I just was overwhelmed. I was anxiety. I just didn't feel it. I wasn't like feeling to engage with strangers on the streets of New York City. I paid the camera guy and I paid for the props and whatever it was. And one thing is like, I'm not going to waste money over here. You know what I mean? So I was like, whatever, I'm going to go. And I just pushed myself. And throughout the time I was like, I noticed it. And at the end of the shoot, I was buzzing and I was in a different mood and I was great. And that was what I was projecting in the video. Like it happened in the process of doing it. So that was cool too. Like, you know,
that happens to me a lot.
Yeah, my feelings are on my facts.
It happens to me a lot because I have this value of like showing up. Like you got to show up. Like that's the rule,
right?
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so many times I don't want to go, and it like the process makes you feel.
It does, but what I'll say is that, but if you keep doing that always without a break and filling up your cup, then you're gonna feel burnt out and like, what am I doing?
Right.
So yes, that's important. Some days you have commitments to go do that. But you gotta schedule time for yourself for you. Right. Without the kids, without the wife, just for you. Take yourself out on a date. Go for the walk. I'm not saying you have to maybe disappear off the face of the earth for 2 weeks, but like you got in your routine to do that.
It's got to be in there.
It has to be in there. Because here we are talking about it, and 25 years later, and sometimes the people for less or for more, and how long you've been gritting and gritting your teeth and clenching it. You can let go of that now, man, and really put that into your schedule.
I know, but I was speaking to somebody the last podcast I did, and it was so refreshing because Michelle Tower, that's the guy's name, but he's not in the field, he's not doing anything, and he just decided, and you would like this guy because he just decided he lost his nephew, and we were doing a podcast about it, and he decided that he's just going to compliment everybody in the world. Like that's his life's mission. Just give out compliments. Oh. And to me, it was like, that doesn't have to be a mood. Doesn't have to be anything. He just made it his passion to go out and give compliments. And I don't know. I just felt like that was his way of I don't remember why I brought it up. Do you have any idea why I brought that up?
That's amazing. Self-care, maybe entwining stuff that fill you up in every day. I don't know. Maybe
no.
I don't know.
Sorry, I forgot why I brought that up.
I don't know why, but I did make it.
Dude, I was headed somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I was headed somewhere.
We'll get there. The long, short way.
You ever read the Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah. Oh, not the book. I mean, I've seen the films. Actually, never read the book. Yeah.
This is one of the wisest books of all
time.
I
know. I've heard. I know.
But he says to the Cheshire Cat. Do you remember the Cheshire Cat?
Sure.
Cheshire or Cheshire?
Where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go? And he says, I don't know. Well, then you're sure to get there.
Yeah. That's good. That's so good. That's so deep.
It's the deepest.
It's so good. Oh,
when I was 16 years old, I walked around that book like it was my Bible. I would read it daily. I'd read that.
That's good. Now I'm going to read it. I'm going to read that.
I thought it had such wisdoms. But really, it was just a man who was insane. That's what I found out later. Or on very high on drugs.
That was deep, baby.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Now.
Oh, man.
So let's take this down to a regular person. Right?
Because we're not regular people.
No.
The peasants.
Let's talk to
the simple-minded folks.
Talk to the little people.
Oh.
The little people. So, okay.
You're joking. I'm joking. Not about Sunday.
No, I'm dead serious.
Okay.
It's not a joke on any level. Okay, so, no, I'm saying like you're a regular person doing life.
Yeah.
It's not about the millions of people looking at you and what's happening but you're going through life, and you're putting out the video. What do you want them to like? You're putting out a video for them to kind of get this message. Is that how you think?
I just thought of something. I want them to feel something. I just want them to feel something. Whether sometimes the video is going to be happening, sometimes it'll be a thought that will make you move inside, maybe make you cry.
Yeah.
I think I'm just thinking about this right now in real time as you're asking me this question.
Yeah.
Like, I realized I just want people to feel something, like feeling, human, mistakes, imperfection, connection, other humans. I'm rattling here,
Yeah.
but I think it's just feeling, and the reason for that maybe is because I've been so disconnected from my feelings for so long. I'm only really starting to feel those feelings. That like that's what I wanted. Like I've sort of wanted to give people what I couldn't give myself.
Like a feeling.
Just feeling, just to connect with yourself, connect with other. And sometimes that'll be a joyful feeling, and that's been predominantly my brand, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And now it's evolving to other feelings. As a person, as an artist, I'm growing. I'm getting tapped into other feelings, and those will come through in my art.
Wow. What is your process like? Did you just start a video in your brain?
Maybe.
No, I'm saying like, what? Could you tell me?
Your thing is, I'm filming all of this, bro. Welcome to my video.
Where is it? Wait, where's like? How does your process work?
You know, it depends. If it's commission work, you know, songs, music videos, or like a promotional video, then obviously that's a basis.
Right.
But even within that, I like to just like really immerse myself within that music or with the idea. And I really go to the park. I go outside. I go for walks. I think about it in the shower. You know, I just let it marinate.
Right.
If it's for my own idea, that's where it gets hard.
Yeah. How does that happen?
It's hard. I don't. I'm working on that discipline right now to be able to create my own ideas from scratch, or to not just hide behind creativity through projects that I'm being hired for.
Right.
And that's hard. And that's right now I'm working on to create my own stuff, which I'm very excited for. And it's all been a culmination of just like all the different tools and knowledge and wisdom and therapy and all that's sort of helped me to be able to sit down and write on a page. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Not to jump up and like, do 20 other things.
Do you have a team at all that you could work with, or it's literally solo from the
beginning?
beginning?
Bring on the team afterwards, but the creative like that early stages, it's me. It's me and conscious, my God, you know, whatever. But then I bring on the people like, okay, I need, you know, a videographer, film it, lighting, a costume, props. I mean, I have a hand in all that in some capacity, but I'm no expert in those fields, so I bring on the team.
It's so cool. I always get fascinated by people who do things that I could never do. You know, it's like, how do they do that? I could do other things.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and we all, and that's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing.
We're all different.
All different, man. We all are different, and that's why it's so unfair to compare. It's unfair to compare.
Yeah, I feel like one of the big takeaways I'm taking away from this podcast is that the world has become this weird blob of like we're all supposed to be the same somehow.
Yeah, we're on Instagram. We're looking. We're swiping vacations. All vacations should look this way. You know, if I go to this specific place, I should look this way.
Right.
Even more micro, or camp, or family life, or parenting. I mean, I'm not even any of those, but like, I can only imagine, like, and in my own career, and like, also realize you're only usually jealous of the people that are in your space. Like, I couldn't care about the astronaut that made it to space, but someone who's in social media, by gosh, that's gonna get my blood boiling. You know, like, I'm like, whoa. Once I realized that, it's like, and you start dissecting that, it's all really just lies that we tell ourselves.
It's really lies. And I gotta say this, the interesting thing is, the idea is not a lie. We are all the same. But the reason why we're all the same is because we all are uniquely human, and we all feel all the things everybody else is feeling on some level. Mm-hmm. And we're not sharing the stuff that we're actually the same about.
Right.
We're sharing the stuff we're not the same about.
Yeah.
Am I saying that?
Yeah, and even worse, like also like and once I think it goes back to also acceptance. Like, if we're just able to allow ourselves to accept what brings us joy and what brings us meaning, that it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. Like, if it's okay, it doesn't have to look that way. And then if we embrace that more, then we'll just embrace our unique voice, and then that'll be shared, and people are like, oh, I love that. And naturally, you may or may not get a following if that's what you're looking for, but you'll be more in line with what brings you peace, and you'll be a happier person that way, I believe. Wow. And I could never do what you're doing, you know? Like, that's fascinating.
Well, 25 years of it, eventually we'll be able to do it. No, I'm kidding.
25 years, I wash your clothes. Yeah, but you've done, what you've done, and I want to do what you do in some big ways. Like, I remember even leaving at some point. I'm like, oh, I want to get into that. You know, like that's my personality. I want to get into that. What was that? That was like helping young people, especially in a lot of pain, to help them find community. Like, and I also realized like it's not where I am right now. Like I'm being called to other things, but healing. But there was elements to that which would lit me up.
Right.
And so then I don't have to get swarmed up to the whole fascination of the whole. It has to look exactly this way and what Sonny is doing. But it's like, cool, like, oh, what did bring up for me? And like, how could I tie that in? And now I'm trying to see how I could do that in my own personal ways of.
It'd be so weird if we all did the same thing.
Yeah, it'd be boring, man.
It'd be so
boring. It'd be lame.
boring.
If we all spoke the same language, all wore the same clothing, it wouldn't be a beautiful garden filled with so many different types of flowers. You know, it wouldn't make it. You know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have that uniqueness.
It's so interesting because another thing because like every time I'm talking, I'm so enjoying it. Like one of the things I feel like I share with you is that much as I talk about being vulnerable, I freaking love people.
Yeah.
Like I love people, and I hear you talking about it, it's like an excitement. Like people, like I really sometimes I forget how much I'm excited by people. Like they're so cool. Yeah. They're so cool.
Yeah.
All of them are like so uniquely cool. And I don't think they're cool because they're perfect. Like they're cool because they're different. And like they all have something to contribute. They're all awesome. So I hear that in your voice. Like I feel it, I don't express it enough. But like I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like, I sit down with guys I'm working with and parents and like every one of them is really cool. Like in their own way.
Yeah.
Some of them got to stop beating each other and stuff like that. But that's
right.
Don't be bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying everything's all right, but I hear that passion for people. Like you want like to bring to people.
Yeah, it's true. I never really think. Yeah, I do love people. Right, you say it that way. I do love people. I'm fascinated by people. Hearing the stories, have random conversations with people. It's like you just like blip somebody out of the pedestrian like life of like the busy streets of New York. So you just pick out one person, talk to them for 10 minutes. Like whoa, like what you hear? Like, especially like a city like New York City. Usually a lot of people are coming from different places. Like it's like this metropolis, right?
Yeah.
People, and it's like, whoa, how you came from this farmland, you made this decision, you made this, you pursued that, you feel like it's fascinating, man. Like we're all a bunch of avatars, you know, like pick your adventure, you know.
It's wild.
It's wild.
I love it. I love hearing it because like it's an enthusiasm, dude. I love you so much more. I
love you too.
I would say because it's like you're such a full person, and. Not saying to glorify you. You have so much to do, and I'm not going to try to,
don't worry about it.
Juice your ego.
Don't worry, the inner world of myself is already. You know,
but I really love talking to you, and I really appreciate that you came on this podcast. I feel like I'm on your podcast for half of it, and you're on my podcast for half of it.
I'm really grateful for you having me. Thank you
really
so much.
Exactly. Do you have any other wisdoms you want to drop, or we dropped it all?
I think let's do a part 2 sometime.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll speak to you soon. Love you, bro.
Love you.
Thank you for this day that I've been given. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this chance. Thank you for this chance to live anew.